So I was a weird kid. I didn't have a lot of love. I looked ugly for society, and I was very badly bullied in school.
Jingjin Liu.
From Singapore, we have Jingjin Liu,
Very accomplished professional turned entrepreneur from Singapore.
the CEO and co-founder of Zazazu, helps women to remove self-limiting beliefs.
North Star, empowering women, I don't like that term because women has the power. Empower meaning giving power. We have the power, we just don't know how to leverage it. And then you suddenly tell the women, okay, be confident, be competitive with men, be vocal, voice out what you want to say, you have a voice. But you told them when they were young, the social conditioning in the past 20 years was, I didn't have power when I grew up. I have very small eyes. I am dark skinned. My parents were overseas. I was brought up by my grandparents. My grandparents were very reserved, so they didn't take a lot of care of me. And I really struggled to associate with my identity. Why do women don't believe that we are good in what we do?
What do you think? What is your gut telling you?
I think deep inside we feel.
Now you're working with empowering women, and do you have a personal story that inspired you to start your current company?
Yeah. So I started empowering women has always been a mission to help women build confidence in competence. I think this is we're chatting about North Star.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about what is your North Star? Empowering women, actually don't like that term because women has the power. Empower meaning giving power. We have the power, we just don't know how to leverage it. So I didn't have power when I grew up. I grew up in the 80s in China, in Beijing, and I was always the outlier, as in I am dark-skinned for a Chinese Northern person. When I was a kid, I had very small eyes, and my parents were overseas, and I was brought up by my grandparents. Different than usual, the loving, the grandma, grandpas. My grandparents were very reserved, and they were very obsessed with their own things. So they didn't take a lot of care of me. So they were very self-centered. So I was a weird kid. I didn't have a lot of love. I looked ugly for society, and I was very badly bullied in school. So the children will come to me, oh, your parents, pick you up from the garbage bin because your skin is so dark, or your parents were farmers. At that time, it was an insult in China when you say your parents, especially from Beijing, are farmers, and because your skin is so dark, and if your parents liked you, they would be here. So they picked you up from the garbage bin, they dumped you, and they left you with your weirdo grandparents. And that has become my reality. And then, additional to that, I didn't really like to learn school as in academics. I was always very hands-on, let's do things in the practical way. But back then in China, the most important thing is, still today, is that you need to score, you need to be good at math, at Chinese, at academics. So a girl, and then I was extroverted, I was very I was thirsty for friendship because I want to have love. I didn't get that at home, and I want to have friends around me. And so it was a very sad story. So I was this ugly little girl, and there was no love from home. The children somehow bullied you, and you were not good at school. And I really struggled to anyhow associate with my identity. So then one day I said I was just gonna cut my hair and be a boy. Yeah, that was, and then until all the way when I was 15, my parents came back to China when I was 12. So we effectively lived 3 years together. Then I told my parents, I want to go to Germany. So they were in Germany, and they were the first generation student that government sent overseas. We didn't have the resources to come. At that time, there was one flight per day, per week from China to Germany. And we didn't have money, so they couldn't go back to see me. And then when they finally came back, I said, okay, I want to go to Germany because I don't think that I can succeed, find out who I am as a woman or as a person in China, because the society norm, how women need to be, how girls need to be, white-skinned, they need to be good at school, they are muted in a way, don't be too vocal, and I am the exact opposite. So I don't fit in the society. So let me explore Germany, the Western world. Yeah.
Wow, what a story. Right?
Yeah.
Today, I invite you to grow with us. Subscribe to our channel and get updated with all the latest episodes. And in turn, we promise better production, better guests, and the most impactful content. Now, let's go back to the conversation. And when do you think was the moment that there was the shift, that things started shifting for you?
It's really, I think going to Germany was the best decision in my life. In Germany, suddenly, everything what I just mentioned, being loud, being dark-skinned, and at that time, my eyes, I don't know why, when I grow up, my eyes become bigger. But then when I was in my puberty, at that time, the eyes were still smaller. So, and then in Germany, suddenly people were like, wow, what a beautiful person, because she's dark-skinned Germany, everyone want to be tan. Yeah. And someone who is vocal, because I didn't speak German at that time, but the desire to make friends was so much. I leveraged every word I can use combined with Chinese, a little bit English. The willingness to make friends, to be vocal, to express myself. The German were like, oh, the Asian are like that, because the Asian around them, they are muted, because they are the Asian, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Korean. They laugh, very small, like Hello Kitty. They always say, oh my, the opposite of Hello Kitty came. And I was vocal, I expressed myself, I was extroverted, and and I was a personality in the sense that I was a person, I was Jingjin. Whereas in China, I was, oh my, this ugly girl just will never make it. And I think that's somehow the acceptance from society. I didn't understand back then, but today, in retrofit, in hindsight, I recognize, okay, that help you to build confidence in who you are as a lady, as a woman. And and then I went to boarding school at that time. Even it was just an interesting story just to see how different things work in China, in Germany. Is that in the boarding school, I was very bad I was not very bad. I was good in school, but bad in school in the sense of I didn't know how to speak German. So I was good in maths, in chemistry, things that don't need a language. And I fell in love with this boy, and who is one grade higher than me. And in boarding school at that time, the next year, he's gonna move to another campus. So I told my teacher, she has a one-on-one with me, how are things, very kind, very loving. And I told I want to jump one grade. And she said, why? I said, okay, because I really like that boy and I want to be in the same campus with him. In China, firstly, you can never say that. Secondly, the teacher was like, you with your pro grade want to go to another grade, are you daydreaming? In China, they will shame you. So in China, I would never express that. And my teacher, it was impossible to jump at that grade. No? She looked at me, she said, okay, Jingjin, okay, let's find a way. Let's look at your grades. Which subject can we make more effort? What do we need to make you jump one grade? And let's work on that. And I remember this for the rest of my life, because this gave me, even I didn't believe I could jump the grade. But the fact that she believed in me, that I could jump the grade, I never jumped the grade ultimately. The motive was simply not right. But the fact that she believed in me in such a calm manner, that I will always remember. And I think that was a shift, change. If someone believed in you, and even if you didn't believe in yourself, I was 17. That was huge. And I think that was the first milestone for me. It's like, okay, if as a woman, if another woman supports you, we can reach great things.
So what I like about your story is that suddenly you change your environment, and what you thought were like not your weakness, in the new environment became your strength.
Absolutely.
And that is really, really, really powerful. And the second one is like you had someone that believed in you.
Yeah.
And that made all the difference.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So today you work with helping women build their confidence
Yeah.
in their competences, right? What do you think are the biggest challenges that women face today, especially the women that you work with?
Yeah. So we work with professional women, and in their between 25 to all the way to 60s when they reach board positions in the C level. I think the biggest concern or the biggest challenge women face in terms of confidence is the social conditioning, how we were brought up. What I mean by that is when we grow up, what do our parents across all cultures, China, Germany, anywhere, is that be the good girl, be a humble girl. Don't brag about your successes, especially in Asia. Asia more than Europe, but still, we tell women to be risk averse. When you say little boys, they run around. Yeah, let's fight. Let's be competitive. Whereas the little girl, if you see the little girls running around, oh, don't fall because you fall on your face, you're gonna have a scratch. It boils on their face. So what the hell? So the social conditioning actually tell women, be careful, be cautious. Take the safe route. How do you build confidence? It's like, I always say, it's like going to the gym. It's that you have to break the muscle cells in order to build new muscles. And the same is with confidence. But if you're always in a very confined, in a safe environment, don't take the extra leap. Don't go to the entrepreneurship. Marry the right guy. Marry someone who can take care of you. All this narrative across the whole world, then suddenly women become today, Me Too, with all this movement, women, you need to be everything, literally. Yeah. And then you suddenly tell the women, okay, be confident, be competitive with men and be vocal, voice out what you want to say, you have a voice. But you told them when they were young, the social conditioning in the past 20 years was, careful, less courageous. Yeah, it's the conditioning, and you simply can't change just like that.
Yeah.
So this deep self-limiting beliefs and that things that are holding women back is the years conditioning and education. This is how societies a bit broken for me.
Yeah. And what do you think are the impacts today in today's world, in work, life, of that conditioning of women?
Is that women, you just genuinely don't believe that you are good in what you do. And it doesn't matter how many evidence you have. So we help women, for example, say, okay, a project achieved, okay, let's write down, even sticky notes and saying, I have done this better, I have achieved great grades, I was in the dean's list, all this achievement, but deep inside for women, because of the social conditioning, we still believe, oh, that's not enough. That's not, because even in school, very often you reach, especially in Asia, okay, I have become the top 10 and I'm number 8. And the parents will, okay, who is number 1? And it's a very tough kind of, for women, years of conditioning of telling you, okay, be good, be humble, be risk averse. And now in the corporate world or entrepreneurship, you have to take risks, ask for the things you want. You have to brag about your success, because otherwise, how is the world going to know that you have done great things, achieved great projects, success? Now you have to market yourself suddenly, and women just don't know how to do it. Yeah. So there's actually a very famous study, and I think that tells it all. It's called from Columbia University. It's a case study called Howard versus Heidi. There's a Heidi Rosen, one of the very early days venture capitalists, female venture capitalists in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, back in the 60s, 70s. And she was the only woman who actually built a big fund, and she was great in networking. She break a lot of social justice, social conditioning, and network with a lot of men, and reach the extra mile, and eventually become one of the most famous venture capitalists as a woman. And Columbia University did her whole entrepreneur journey in the business case, and 2 business case version with the exact same wording. One's called Heidi Rosen, the other is called Howard Rosen. Now they let the students to evaluate, the competency. They evaluate the likability. Do you want to work for them? What do you think of them? While both group of students, a huge group study, they find both of them competent and skillful, but majority, I think like 80 to 90% want to work for Howard because he think he is aspirational, he's a great leader, and they think Heidi is selfish. They think Heidi is not appealing. He think he's very, she only think about herself. And because the social norm, women need to be affirmative, need to be likable. We need to like women. We need to be likable. And this lady, because he pulled out his elbow, and she's the opposite. And if women violate this kind of things that actually bring you to success, we don't like them. And all women want to be liked. And I think the desire to want to be liked, this is what we learned in school time, is holding women back the most.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
I see. And what is the current situation of between men and women at the workplace today?
Today, I think the Me Too movement or the Vogue movement, female empowerment, all this narrative has done great things because people are more aware about, women are just as capable as men, if not even better. But I see a very difficult trend from societal perspective in the workplace is that factually, women will have children. If the majority of women still want to have children, they still want to get married, and the fact that you will have one day children, you will be 9 months pregnant, then you have the first several months will be difficult. This is factually just going to hold you back a little bit from work. You can't spend as much time in workplace as men. And women are so scared to doing that step today that because becoming a mother, just a wife, is not aspirational anymore. All the things, if you ask people what the greatest things you have in life is a mother, no women want to just become a mother. They want to be a self-fulfilled person, entrepreneur, or a corporate executives. The challenging trend is that because becoming a mother is not aspiration anymore, women are so afraid to doing that step. So I have a lot of corporate executives in their 40s, and they say, I have reached my top of my career, but what's the cost to that? Is that I missed the train, I didn't have the right partner, I didn't have time to find the right partner, so that leave me ultimately with no children. Or even some of the corporate executives, if they have made it and they have children, often their husbands are stay-at-home dads, for example. But how many women would have that luxury to have stay-at-home dads? So the difficult trend is that women are taking as many, even in some industries, women even have more senior women than men. But what's the price? What's the cost to this women's life today? And for the ones who did have children, then what are the struggles they have? Because as long as the corporate rule, again, is 996, it's rather time over efficiency, time over deliverables. Women can never win. Because we will want to go back home to see our children. And surprising fact, dads want to do that too. But the social condition telling men, no, you have to be at work. You can only leave when your boss leaves. The time you spend at work define your value. Your corporate title define your value. That is also not aspirational. So the societal construct as a whole is broken. I see.
And so there's a societal construct, and that has impacts in terms of the way women see themselves. And how can men become allies?
Two power struggle with DEI is that traditionally men, let's say white men, whatever man, let's just say men have more power than women. in the moment where you tell inclusion, I have a lot of people coming in saying, oh, if you design workshop only for women, you are excluding the men. There are a lot of things you help women gain more power, you are excluding the men. This narrative is all right with the hypothesis that men and women are equal. We are not equal. Women are here. Just look at all the invisible barrier. Women have the accessibility to education, accessibility to corporate roles, accessibility to help. A lot of things. Women have unique challenges that are only unique to women. Men can never experience. And I always say privilege, the position they have, privilege is invisible for men, for the one who have it. So you wouldn't know. Because if you look in the mirror, you see yourself as a man. A black man look in the mirror, he will see himself as a black man. This is already the difference. And with DEI, with women, you have to lift women up here first. So you have to do all the things for any, let's say, minority group. I don't say women's minority group, but if you want to make DEI happen, you have to lift all this underprivileged group, women being one of them, to the level of the average, which is the men. So you have to do more things for them. Meaning now I am the man here. I think, shit, my power, who has always been to me, is taken away.
Yeah.
Why the hell should I support that? So I think this is where we have the gap. So we need to tell the world, the man, the DEI need to be done in a way that we need to bring the additional value in the moment where you bring more women. What is the gain for you? Because now what men are saying is that the board position is we encourage women to promote. Now this position, we want to have more female candidate. Before it's any candidate, now we want to have more female candidate. They see that their power is being taken away. Of course they are not gonna support that. So we need to design the DEI in the way in the company that in the moment where we bring more women up, what are we taking away from you is bad things, as in, now you can go pick up your kids, which is a good thing because now women is in power. And women, in the moment where you have more female leaders, the likelihood to pushing through to have a company childcare center, to have paternity leave, to have things that good for men are there. And empathetic leadership will be more there. Servant leadership will be more there. The company culture will shift in a way. You don't need to stay until 6 p.m. You can pack your stuff at 4 p.m. and work at 8 p.m. again to spend 4 hours with your children or playing golf or doing something that you can only do within that hour, but be flexible in the evening because women, they naturally understand this kind of setting work for me because I want to spend time with my children. In the moment where you bring more female leader, the workplace is going to be more inclusive, natural, and kind. And this is a gain for men as well. You need to tell the men what is your gain. Yeah.
So what do you think is one of the biggest limiting beliefs that women have that impact the most their careers?
Limiting beliefs is that I think the number one is still that they don't believe they are good in what they do. That's why I emphasize so much in let's help women build confidence in competence. How can we find a way to make women believe, despite of the social conditioning, they are good in what they do and they are capable to voice out the great work they are doing. Is that because so many women tell me, I have done. So we do this exercise, we just write down the projects, what is the deliverables, what is the expected deliverables, and what have you delivered. Let's just be very data facts driven and write it on paper. And if you say, okay, let me put this paper, let me give it to another senior person, does this person over exceed the expectation or not? And most of the time, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But still, deep inside, I mean, is he saying that because because he has to say it? Is he saying that because there are so many? To be very frank, we even haven't figured out yet what is despite of the social conditioning, why do women don't believe that we are good in what we do?
What do you think? What is your gut telling you?
I think deep inside we feel it's very subtle, it's very deep, is that we are inferior than the decision makers. Deep inside, it's just not good enough.
What makes you believe in that?
This is tough question. Inferior. Maybe, as if from the Chinese perspective, we were brought up seeing that, the most of me as an exception because my mom was around, but we always seen that mother, they work as much as that, and they come back home, the first thing they do is cooking and things and serving the dads in a way. And dad will come back home and read newspaper and put their feet on. So women, the fact that women serve is deep ingrained. As in, look at the service industry.
Yeah.
Who serve women? Care industry, child care, kindergarten, elderly care, women. So women are there to serve. So as long as you are a servant, we talk a little bit about servant leadership, but before was this is the leader, this is the servers. So servers are inferior.
I see.
So I think that's the deep. It's very subtle. If you tell this to any woman, they say, "Oh no, I don't believe in that." But it's just deep inside. But as a servant, you are just not as good as the receiver.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So maybe you can. Do you have any story that can illustrate that from one of the women that you work with?
Yeah, I think so. So I think the biggest transformation story, maybe, or the biggest. It's always the compelling story we see, like, become a millionaire or something. Is that, so I work with this lady. So she is, we had this entrepreneur session. So I'm an entrepreneur in residence in INSEAD. She's a student, and she is a EMBA student. So this lady came to my session and said, "Oh my God, it's such a small business, and I really want to step into entrepreneurship." And I would say, "But you are, and tell me about business." So I thought it's just something, on a paper. And so she ran a business called Baby on Top. So it's a business where baby, it's a turban that helps to identify the sex of baby. Very simple, actually. And then she said, "This is it's such a small business." And I said, "Okay, how much are you doing? Is it just an MVP?" So it turns out, if you Google it, the page is on top of the SEO excellently done. Doing 200,000 euro at that time as revenue, broke even, and she's a mother of 3. She worked in a full-time corporate job, and live in Paris, so has no help. And I look at her and I was like, "And you think you can't step out with that amount of time? Within a year, you have built a business for 200,000 euro, and with just broke even, and with 3 children." And you think you can't leave your corporate job and then to do this? What is holding back? Okay, then all the whole things, my identity, what are people gonna think about me? I'm a corporate executive, and what is my husband gonna think about me? And what is my in-law gonna think about me? All this kind of things. So we worked quite a long time on this project to saying, to have one-on-ones, and then, so what does it take for you to leave the corporate job right now? So, because before, it's a lot of things for women. Women often are not that data-driven, I would say. They'll say, "Okay, I feel I cannot leave yet. So let's put the things, okay, now let's make another 5 months because I want to have, let's say, 200,000 euro now in the bank, so that make me personally feel secure enough to step out. And how can I negotiate with the company is that I'm gonna step out 1 year, take a sabbatical, and then, but I can always come back to have a return ticket in a way as well." So we designed a lot of construct, and after 3 months, she actually quit the job, and that business has become, this Australia girl, a multi-million euro business now. So I think that was really she already has a great start, like many, many women. I pick any of my LinkedIn connections and they think, "Oh, my story is so insignificant, and my achievement is so small." If you write them down what this woman have done, because women, I always say, there is no woman who doesn't work. Women always work, even if you're at home. You are working to helping elderly, to helping children, and women are doing so many things beyond just their work. And if you list them down and then be very specific about the KPIs, you will be surprised.
Yeah. So for women who want to overcome that limiting belief, what is your advice to them?
Okay. So the number one limiting belief holding women back at work is the urge that we think we need to be liked. What I mean by that is that in the moment where a company often asks you to, okay, let's organize a team event, let's do this project, we say yes to many, many things. Why do we say yes to many things? It's because saying no is uncomfortable. When you say no, the likelihood for someone to not like you is higher. So I think then a lot of work that we are doing is not leading to promotion, not leading to salary increase, are often handed down to women because we don't know how to say no and we want to be liked, so we say yes, and then time is so valuable. We spend 40 to 50% of the time doing non-promotable and non-leading work that is not leading to promotion or salary increase. So if I would give one thing to women to take, if I would have the power to give women one skill, is to take away the belief that we need to be liked. Just don't give a shit about what people think about you.
And what is your biggest limiting belief?
My self-limiting belief is, for example, that I need to be pretty in order to be successful. I have never spoken this in anywhere, so this is the premiere for me, is that because I was an ugly girl, and I always think that I succeeded in my career, is because in Germany I become pretty, right, in their view. So that pretty stigma inside of me is somehow said, okay, it's somehow linked to my career success. I know in the meanwhile it has nothing to do with it, but deep inside, I think if I were the ugly girl, if the German would think that I were the ugly girl, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, for example. So what I do, now I know where this self-limiting is coming from. I still have that, but every time when I have that limiting belief, I will put it aside and just put it on a seat and then just park it there.
And how do you change that? How do you reframe it?
I don't reframe them at all. So I put it there, and I have my similar exercise. I have my achievement sheet. I have my let's see, all these things I have you have achieved is because of you. And I have another. This is also I never said it anywhere. I have a. I mean, it's so mean, but I have a unattractive successful women board in my room. I have all visually unappealing women, which society think they are not beautiful, they are not whatever, but they are successful. I have the pictures of them hanging there. One of them is Angela Merkel, for example, the former president, chancellor of Germany. She is, I think I love her story, just from someone from East, in such a male-dominated country, on technology, for anything. And she is visually not appealing, and how she made it happen. And then some other women that were society wouldn't necessarily think, okay, wow, she looked great. Because let's be frank, I mean, attractiveness, both in men and women, have an impact on success. But that attractiveness level, very often, I would say it's a curse and blessing for modern women at the same time. It opens doors, but it closes doors as well. Because a lot of people are saying, of course she got it because she's pretty.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So what you say is first is to understand what's the root cause of the belief.
Self-limiting belief.
Right?
Where is this coming from?
Yeah, and then the second, in which I really like it, is to ask people to validate our assumptions.
Exactly.
And normally it's not like that.
Yeah.
But so you find people that you can trust
Yes.
to validate those assumptions,
Yes.
and that helps you to overcome
Yeah.
those beliefs. I really, really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now if we bring it into the, let's say for women that want to succeed in their careers, what are your 3 pieces of advice for them?
So number one, to succeed at work. Number one is to be very specific of your career path. As in, I step into this role, my expectation of this role is a two-way street, right? My expectation of this role is here. In 2 to 3 years, I want to be in a team leader or a cross-functional role. And then I want to have a project exposure to this. I want to have a mentorship, a mentor who has this kind of power that can guide me to the leadership path. Or I want to explore the expert path. So to write down very specific what are the career role. If you enter this company, you have designed for yourself. Not in the 5 years I want to be there. No, next year, year 1, year 2, year 3, and have regular checkup with line managers. Be very specific. Yeah, and then number 2 is make your default no. Is that anything if they're in the moment where you step into the professional world, your key deliverables should take up 80% of the time. We have done a study with 1,500 women that where they spend their time. Women spend 40-50% of time doing work that is simply not inside their work scope. Just organize a gift for the colleague, just make a team event. International Women's Day event, celebrate women. No, you celebrate women by paying them, by giving them leadership positions, not asking them to do more work to celebrate them. So make your default no. If it does not give you, I always say 3 things: learning, earning, purpose. These 3 things. Does not fulfill this category? No. Last but not least, explore things early, especially for the ones who just step into the into career, and people say take the safe route, to work with the government, work with the corporate, When you are young, you have no kids, no husband, no liability, no aging parents. The world is literally your oyster. So join a startup, start a startup, join a company that's doing weird things, learn, fail, learn again, fail again. Make this kind of early experiences, failing experiences, things that is out of the traditional way early. Because the boring corporate or boring stuff that bring money but does not bring necessarily life experiences, you have the rest of your life to do it.
Yeah. And in one of your previous interviews, you mentioned about for women to have confidence in the bedroom, so that leads to confidence in the boardroom. What do you mean about that?
So this is our slogan. Yeah. It's rather, so confidence in the bedroom leads to confidence in the boardroom. It's, what I mean by that is having difficult, candid, awkward conversation and exercise in a safe environment. Because again, what do women want in the corporate world? Want more salary, they want to have more, we talk about limiting beliefs, right? How can I ask for more salaries more confidently? How can I ask for a better role more confidently? All these kind of things is coming back to ask confidently. This kind of things need to be exercised.
Yeah.
Again, muscle. So my hypothesis is that if you can't, in the bedroom, for example, in the setting, having sex with your partner, with your husband, most of the women have crappy sex because they don't know what they want in bedroom, and more of them, they don't want to tell their husband, I want to have it this way, because stigma, again, what is he gonna think about me if I tell this? And again, social conditioning, women who like to have too much sex or know what they want in the bedroom are whores or are, all these bad kind of things. But this is the most awkward conversation. If you can't have the most awkward conversation to demand what you want with the closest man in your life, how are you going to bring up that confidence to a strange man, to an unacquainted man, your boss, your male peer, often are still men? How are you going to bring that confidence level to a stranger? So I think this is the quirks we somehow try to shift. But the message is actually having awkward conversation, demand things at home. Meaning, can you wash the dishes today? And she said, why? No reason, because it's also your household. You know, you pick up the children today, or you pick up the children from today forever. Or, demand things, because women very often is that we take so many mental load or household load very often because we don't ask.
Yeah.
So you need to empower your husband or your partner, the man in the household, to empower you. So I think women don't need to be empowered, men need to be empowered in the household setting. In order to do that, many women need to give comment. So once you get into the exercise of demanding, commanding men in the household, it's much easier to have that conversation in the corporate setting. Yeah.
And it's like a muscle, right? And then
Yes.
you build it. You practice at
Exercise,
home in a
yes.
safe environment.
Yeah.
And then when you are in the corporate environment, then
Yeah.
it comes more natural
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good. So we're coming to the end. I just have one more question to you, which is, what is the one key message that you want people to have from our conversation?
So the one message I want to have got out of the conversation is that if you are a hiring manager, or if you are in the position of power, and don't underestimate the power of women, especially don't underestimate the power of mother. I always say, if you want to get things done, you hire a woman. And if you want to get everything done, you hire a mother. And I think this is the message that I cannot emphasize as much. I cannot emphasize even too much, is that one thing that we didn't talk a lot in these conversations about working mothers, because most of the women I work with, they are working mothers and they are in their early senior career, and they have often in their late 30, mid 40, they have still young children. This struggle is that, the corporate world are putting them, that guilt from everywhere, not doing everything well. And this is all in their head. And somehow our company setting has put it in a way that made women feel bad at home, feel bad at work, although they deliver outstanding results. So I really want to have sending this message to people in power. Actually, everyone is people in power in work, because in the moment where you set a meeting at 6 o'clock, you are putting this lady in a difficult position. If you can do something at 4 p.m., the result is the same. But often we feel that we want to prove that women, mothers, have less flexibility than men. So we set them to fail. And I think this mindset deep inside is in everyone, even in women. Because women, they feel, okay, I haven't made it in the hard way. I have made so much sacrifices. Now I want to have the young women have the same. Don't. Women need to support women. We need to get back to the tribe, to bring up the old traditional tribe in the modern society by holding each other, lifting each other, supporting each other, putting each other on the board, giving each other a job, buy each other's product, fund each other. Like the old man club, this is how men rise to power. You think how men are having board seat, they call their buddies. I don't see women do that. So call your friends, because there are not enough of them. And and I think for corporate, anyone in power, everyone's again in power, is to really respect women, respect mothers, and don't underestimate the capability and the power that a woman who has become a mother, what they can bring to work, the parenthood, the lesson that they learn at home is a massive contribution to the leadership lesson in the company. And power of individual, if the company, everyone respect and everyone become, the champion for women, and the whole company culture will become automatically more inclusive, and that will affect massively the bottom and top line.
Wow, thank you so much. I think first, it's very inspiring your journey, where you came. From your childhood experience where you are now, and so good luck and keep doing an important work, which is to empower more women to succeed at the workplace.
Thank you for having me. I love the show. Yes. I think this become really something bigger.
Thank you.
Thank you.